So, online relationships are, definitely a thing nowadays, obviously. But scammers are trying to take advantage of this, especially when it comes to people who are interested in building some kind of relationship with someone who is in the military. I receive a ton of emails and messages on Instagram and everything else of people who are suspicious of these people. They're trying to build a relationship with someone that they believe is in the military, but something kind of gives them red flags. So I want to try to help these people discover whether or not it is a scammer or a real actual military individual. So let's start off with this one. I received an email from Sherry, curious about an individual that she has been talking to. And let's check out the email that she has sent me. Sherry says, "Hi Christopher, I've been talking to a guy who says that he is in the Army, and I was wondering if you might be able to help me find out if he is telling the truth. I have several photos of him in uniform and have asked questions, and he will answer some, but not all of them. Please help me. Thanks, Sherry." So this started the conversation. I asked if it was okay if I used her story in an upcoming video. She said yes, and she gave me her story. So here's the email where she gives me this story, and let's find out a little bit more about the individual that she believes could be a scammer or could legitimately be actually in the United States Army. So here's what's going on. I was on an app called Meet Me because my ex-husband and I moved from Clovis, New Mexico to Lubbock, Texas, and I didn't know anyone, so I was looking to make friends. I had a lot of messages from very young men, and I would just ignore them, and I had one guy that was just very persistent, so I started talking to him. Side note here, at this time I was married and my husband was cheating on me. So I was never really looking to find someone. Anyway, so he said his name is Marcus Mason, and he is in the Army and has been for 15 years, and he is in Nigeria. Big red flag for me. So I keep asking questions after watching your videos. Here's the info I know. So she says here that his name is Marcus Charles Mason, born in 1978, and his MOS is a 13 Zulu. I asked him what unit he was with, and he won't tell me. I will add attachments of what he has said and pics of him. He said he has left Nigeria and is now in England at Bulford Camp. So we only talk on the Kick app. I have asked to video chat with him and he says he can't. I've asked him to send me pics of home with the Kick app camera, and he has, so the pic he sent me and the ones from the camera app are the same person, but... So please help me to find out if he is really who he says he is. Thanks. So reading through that, there are some different red flags that I can kind of see. Yes, she is right to feel a little bit worried when the individual mentions that they were stationed in Nigeria. It's not impossible, but it's a rare deployment, let's say that. People who are deployed to like Nigeria, to Syria, stuff like that, commonly special forces units, but that's not to say that that has to be someone who's in the special forces or something like that. But it is pretty rare for individuals to be deployed to this area, as it is not a main kind of combat deployment that is going on right now. It's just kind of select operations that are happening. So it definitely is a red flag, not impossible, but definitely something to be cautious of. The next thing that kind of, gets me cautious is saying that after he left Nigeria, he goes to this camp in England. I've never heard of this camp, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I might have to look into it, but that sounds a little bit weird. You commonly, when you're done with a deployment, you go back to wherever your main duty station was, either whether that be in the United States, Germany, Korea, whatever it may be. This one just doesn't sound familiar, this England camp. So I'm gonna have to look into it and see what comes up when I look for this Bulford camp and see maybe if this is a real camp or if this is something that a unit would go back to after a deployment. Not wanting to video chat, also definitely a sign. That's also a red flag. Either they don't want you to see that they're not the real person, or it could still be legitimate reasons. Maybe they're just self-conscious, they're not very confident in themselves, they, have poor quality camera, I don't know, right? But it is also a red flag for scammers because they don't want you to see that they are not the person in the photos that they have been sending to you. The next thing I usually find is weird is a lot of times these scammers include their full name for whatever reason, their first, middle, and last name for whatever reason. I have never had a situation where I met someone and I tell them my full entire name to include my middle name, right? Usually that's something maybe you build a little bit later when you get a little more personal with them, if someone wants to know your middle name, something like that. So I don't know, I mean, maybe she's been talking to this person for quite a while and that relationship has built a little bit to where they're comfortable giving out the middle name, but that's always kind of a weird thing I always find is someone kind of giving out their middle name and being able to, know what their full first, middle, and last name is. Next is this 13 Zulu MOS. So I looked into that, and that is a field artillery senior leader. So this is someone who, has gone through some schooling as a field artillery individual to move up to a senior leader. So when I think of senior leader, I'm thinking sergeant first class. It could maybe be a staff sergeant, but I usually think of a sergeant first class. There's no real rank requirement that I kind of see based with that MOS, but this is someone who has been in for a while and has been redesignated as a 13 Zulu to be that senior sergeant for that field artillery type of MOS. So with that being looked at, it also says that he wouldn't tell what unit he's with. I don't know why you would hold that back, but that's still not exactly necessarily 100% red flag, but still kind of something to kind of question. So let's look into some of these pictures. If I have not verified that the real individual, or if this is the real individual, is allowing me to show their face, then you may see it blurred out. If you don't see it blurred out, then I must have gotten some kind of acknowledgement from the real person at some point in time in this video to be able to show that face. All right, so we have this, confirms kind of the name, Mason. Looks like this individual is a staff sergeant. Current modern type of uniform. Sometimes that is a thing that they get all screwed up, is they have like an older photo of them in ACUs in the old digital pattern, but this one is the current one. So I can't see a unit patch or anything, so let's check out some of the other photos maybe. This one, you can almost see a patch, but can't really see any kind of combat patch. It does look like you might have an expert infantryman badge though over here, a combat infantry one. So this person has possibly been deployed, and it looks like they got the combat infantryman badge. So that is gonna possibly rule out the whole 13 Zulu MOS. It looks, I mean, it's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. That looks like that is the combat infantryman badge. So that is usually only authorized to be worn by 11 Bravos, infantry individuals, and special forces. This one, possibly an older picture of this individual, because he's got sergeant rank compared to staff sergeant. Here we can see, looks like he was deployed with Big Red 1. This person has been deployed to combat. We can actually probably see a little bit better now that combat infantryman badge, possibly. And still a little bit dark, but I'm still pretty sure that's combat infantryman badge. Can't actually see his unit patch in this photo, but this is probably an older photo, as he's a sergeant in this one compared to the other one as being a staff sergeant. So we got some doubt going on. She's probably been asking questions. So saying, you know, just answer the question. You don't want to tell me why you don't believe me, right? So he's, you know, she's questioning it, you know, if he's real or not. And then because of the shit right here, you can't answer a simple question. So is he saying that he's a reaction force? Reaction forces? IB England? Sounds fishy there already. That still doesn't answer the question. You just giving me details instead of just answering straight out. Babe, that's what I tell you. So yeah, it does sound fishy. So I feel it's a very good chance this is most likely a scam. We're gonna dive a little bit more into it though. I'm gonna try doing maybe a reverse image search on some of these photos, see if we can find the real person, find out some more information, maybe about this person, who the real person is, maybe the scammer, whatever the case might be, and see what we can kind of get. In my past experience, the image searches isn't 100% reliable kind of a thing, because I have had test situations where I have clearly searched for an image that is on Facebook as public, and Google image search didn't necessarily find it. So that can still, you know, be a little bit of a pain to kind of deal with, but we'll see if we can get any kind of results from the images that are coming up on here. All right, so I'm gonna start off using Google Images to just do a reverse search from that, just drag and dropping in some of those images to see if they come back with anything. So let's see if we can get anything out of this. All right, well, we actually got a hit coming back from this. Looks like a couple of different websites that this is coming back with, several different names. Looks like this poor soldier is probably photos that are being used quite often by other individuals to scam. So we got like Sandy, Rickovis Baker, Edward Keeg, all sorts of different names that are kind of popping up into here. Let's check out maybe one or two of these and see what we get from it. So that image just kept on coming back to a peeku.com website, which apparently is some kind of website for searching for someone or whatever. So for whatever reason, that is popping up with multiple different names. So most likely this photo is being used by multiple scammers or in multiple scams by the same person. Let's check out some of these other photos though, see if we get any more hits. So this one was the only one that actually came back with anything. Didn't really give me any information. It's not like a social profile for Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. So we're still gonna have to do a little bit more digging. I wanna look a little bit into that Bulford camp in England and find out what the heck the deal is with that. Is that a real place? What is it used for if it is real? All that kind of stuff. So let's find out a little bit of information on that. So we have a Bulford camp It's apparently in England. So it seems like an active military base, but is it something that U.S. Army would use? Some of these units that it's listing that are like the headquarters for are like British military, those kind of individuals, not U.S. military as far as a headquarters, which that wouldn't be, a thing anyways. You wouldn't have a headquarters in a foreign country usually anyways, but I don't see anything as far as maybe if this is somewhere that U.S. personnel go to or not. I've never heard of this, so it definitely sounds a little bit kind of strange. So for the occupants, it's got like the 3rd UK Division, 12th Armored Infantry Brigade, 1st Battalion, the Merchant Regiment, and the 5th Battalion, the Rifles. But those are not U.S. Military branches or U.S. units. So it's possible this person just looked this up or something. I don't know. This doesn't sound like a place where a unit goes from a deployment to this place. If anything, this sounds like a place you would go for a deployment, because not all deployments are combat deployments. They can be non-combat deployments for training purposes. And this sounds like a place you would possibly maybe go for like a training kind of exercise for however many months or whatever, not a place that a unit actually resides at, because that's usually where the unit goes back to. After a deployment's over, they go back to their main location of where that unit resides at, whether that's a permanent Army installation in the United States or overseas. This does not sound like a permanent U.S. Army installation that a unit would go back to. So yet, just another thing that is adding up towards this person being most likely a scammer. So I want to do a little bit of investigative work with that name, the name Marcus Mason. We're going to try to see what comes out of that actual name. Possibly find the actual scammer's social media site or other people that are most likely just have that same name. For the heck of it, let's try it with that full name, the whole last name, middle name, everything. No, I'm not seeing anything that really links back to that individual that's in those photos. Let's try it with just first and last name. Marcus Mason apparently is also an NFL player. So that would make it very difficult for you to really try to search for someone based on their just first and last name, because you're probably going to get a ton of results that are related to this NFL player, Marcus Mason, and not this alleged soldier that is named Marcus Mason, apparently. So that is not going to be something I can use to try to search for someone. Plus, it's most likely a fake name anyways. But in the photo, it does have Mason as the last name of that individual. So let's try doing maybe a little bit of work on searching for people in the Army with the last name of Mason. That's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but I could get lucky and maybe find someone maybe on Facebook that is U.S. Army with the last name of Mason. I don't know. Let me see if I can get any kind of results out of that. So on Facebook, I'm narrowing it down to just simply a search for Mason, but I can also narrow that down to individuals that maybe list on their profile that they're in the United States Army. And let's see what kind of results I might be able to get from that. Found several people with the last name of Mason that are in the United States Army, but nobody that really matched the photos of this individual. So it doesn't look like we'll be able to find it that way. For the hell of it all, let's add in Marcus. Let's see if anything comes up. So using Marcus Mason does come up with some results that looks like this individual, but with multiple accounts. Jack Marcus Mason and another one named Jack Marcus Mason. Now, another thing I can try is I know that this individual is a staff sergeant and their last name is Mason. So what happens if I search for Staff Sergeant Mason? As sometimes you might find something like from social media, like a unit recognizing this individual for an accomplishment or something that happened or whatever, and they use that wording, Staff Sergeant Mason, and maybe that might pop up with something. Let me see what we get. We have some results here. So first one, we have this individual right here with this one. This looks like the same picture. This one has a Mason Vasquez or Sergeant Mason Edwards. I think this is just showing, so this is like romance scams. So this is an individual that's been used in romance scams before. So there's a lot of images of this individual, and it looks like a lot of people have reported that this is images that are being used by scammers. So this site is someone who is suspicious that this individual is a scammer as well. They're using a similar name, different Vasquez and Mason Edwards and all that stuff like that. And this person is asking if this person's a real person, if anybody knows who this is. But it looks like this person's being used in multiple scams. So from that whole forum of people saying they received pictures from this individual, I may have found the real individual. I don't know for sure. It's still kind of tricky because even the one that they're sharing about, it has a link to their Facebook profile and Instagram, and it still kind of sounds like this person is not sure if this is like a actual scammer or real or not. But when you go to that Facebook page, I mean, they have photos from a ways back, they have photos from recently, people commenting on the photos, even one having a discussion about getting promoted and everything. But I don't know if that's just fake interaction between other people or what, but I can't see how many friends they have. They must have that set as private, and a lot of other things. And then their Instagram is set as private, but they have a lot of photos, but they also are following a lot of people and have a lot of followers in exchange. So that's kind of sketchy, but it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, there's not a lot of comments on some of this guy's photos on this actual Facebook page, but some of the ones that he does have almost seem like other army soldiers, kind of like, you know, giving him some crap, having some fun. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try and try to reach out to this person. It's possibly a real person. Maybe I can get some information out of this individual, maybe even see if they'll do a Skype conversation with me. I don't know. The hard part is that we're not friends on Facebook, obviously, and my message is going to end up going into like the spam section of Facebook. So there's a very good chance that he may never even see my message, but I'll give it a shot and see if I get any kind of return message. I'm also going to send him a friend request on Instagram to follow him and then try to message him on there as well. I feel like I maybe have better odds of being able to contact this individual, but I feel like in the description of his Instagram that maybe he knows his photos are being used in scams, as he has on part of his Instagram profile, official profile, one and only profile. So is that the real person that is just sick of people stealing his photos and claiming to be him? Or is that a scammer that is using that in their Instagram kind of bio to make people think that he's a real person? So we'll see if either of these two hits kind of, you know, lead to anything. Either message him on Facebook or messaging him on Instagram and see if I get any kind of hit back. So some time has passed and I was not able to get in contact with what is possibly the real individual behind the accounts, or the photos anyways, that Sherry was receiving. So I wasn't able to kind of narrow it down that way, but based on all the information that I've seen, I'm confident that this person is a scammer. One, that whole MOS that he has apparently told her that he was, being an artillery MOS. Well, he's got that combat, or the combat infantryman badge that he's wearing in the photos. Even the photos that I found on that other account, that's possibly his real Facebook account, he has that same badge, and that's only something available for an 11 series MOS or an 18 series MOS, and he's claiming to be in a 13 series MOS. So that does not add up and everything. It appears that this individual, based on that unit patch that I saw, looks like is maybe National Guard or Reserves. I didn't look into specifically the unit that was on that unit patch, but that other Instagram or that other Facebook says that he's in California, and this person's claiming to be in like England or something. So there's a lot of things that are kind of adding up to lead me to being a scammer. Sherry had contacted me again recently, saying that he's asking for a gift card now and asking, you know, basically for some help and some support while he's overseas and stuff. And that's definitely also a sign that this person is a scammer, as it's not, you know, something that normally a military individual is going to just reach out to some stranger that they met on the internet and ask for money, ask for gift cards or anything like that. That's typically maybe if you're down on your luck or something, you know, is going on, you're gonna reach out to family and your close friends, not usually complete strangers, unless the intent is to scam them possibly. So I'm pretty confident that the person that Sherry has been talking to is a scammer and is not really the person that is in those photos. So I'll be contacting her to let her know, so that way she can, you know, take appropriate actions, cut off ties, and prevent any kind of further, you know, possibility of being scammed by this individual. So if you're out there and you maybe have someone that you are talking to online and you are a little suspicious, hit me up either on my website at christopherchaos.com. There's a section for contacting me to shoot me a message through there, or you can follow me on Instagram at thatchrischaos. You can shoot me a message through there, and we can connect with each other and maybe try to get the ball rolling and try to figure out if the person you were talking to is also a scammer. And if you're interested in maybe taking part in one of the future episodes for this series, then maybe we can make that happen as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Christopher Chaos. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up. See you guys next time. See ya.